River City High School, under the direction of Felicia Weatherly, band director. She brings us in a couple different groups every year, which is nice. We have the, oh, you know what, I did have to make one other announcement. For all the kids that are in here, if you...
No kids in here, all musicians.
Students.
All musicians.
All musicians.
There you go.
All musicians and parents.
Yes.
Do need to have wristbands to get into the various performances. So if you didn't get one from your band, see your band directors. Like apparently there's a bunch of kids in. Anyway, here are the Sea Monkey Ones.
So that song was Goody Goody, really good song. Our next song featuring Victoria is Mean to Me.
Ganatre.
Hi, my name is Joel, and I'm going to introduce the syncopating sea monkeys right now. Here on piano is Caleb Ball. Logan is our guitar player. On bass, Julian. On the piano, Dale on drums. This is Mary on saxophone and clarinet. Shantae on vocals and Thomas on trombone. Victoria vocals. And trumpet. And Miss Webley right there. She's our director. And our final song for tonight is South Rampart Street Parade.
One, two, one, two, oh, 1, 2, 3.
I've been hearing the sound of my voice too much today. Absolutely marvelous, absolutely marvelous. And you know, you played the room so well. I like sitting in the back, and I could hear everybody. You know, the dynamics of the group, and you adjusted for the solos and everything. And so in the back, the balance was absolutely marvelous. And I'm so excited about that. I remember reading an interview with Benny Goodman. And, you know, the clarinet, you know, most instruments you can mic in one place. Trumpet and trombone, put the mic in front of the bell. Saxophone, you can put a mic right in the middle, and you'll catch all the notes. Playing a clarinet is like playing through a colander. All the sound comes out from different places. So it's impossible to mic a clarinet well. In fact, somebody asked me one time my opinion of a contemporary clarinet player, and I won't say their name, more modern style, right? And they said, well, what do you think of him? Well, I know you've heard him play. What do you mean you don't know what he sounds like? And I said, I know what the microphone sounds like. I don't know what he does. Because that's what, you know, it's all through like several mics. But they were adjusting acoustically for you, and it was wonderful. They asked Benny Goodman one time why the clarinet disappeared from modern jazz and modern popular music, where at one time it was so popular. He says music just got too loud. And so to hear a group that plays dynamically is so refreshing. The drummer, fabulous. Just absolutely, you know, you really making those shifts. And the other thing is your use of brushes. You're an artist with those. And you know, I go on jobs, maybe I shouldn't say this, but with my own group, I'll say, don't go out and play the first number full throttle. Because if you play the first number loud, where do you go? How do you build up the excitement? And we'll go out to do a show, and the drummer will play sticks on the first number. And there's no place to go. It's like, how many times I have to say this? And there are so few drummers that are great with brushes, and you are great with those brushes. I like the arrangements. Goody Goody is really using your imagination and in a sense taking a risk, because the form of the tune is so unusual. You know, and it has the extra bars, and it's not your typical AABA. A little trivia, it was written by Johnny Mercer. It's his first hit, his second hit, first or second hit song. You know, so it's, and if you want to hear a great recording of it, it was the record that became the hit was Benny Goodman, 1935, with Helen Ward on the vocal. But the energy on that record, on the band has, and one of the things I can't stress enough is, you know, the tunes, all the tunes I've heard the bands play today. I love the tunes. You know, all the tunes, you know. You did it mean to me. I love that tune. You know, you sang. It's just so great to sit out there and hear these wonderful songs. And I fell in love with the songs. And so my education, like people said, who taught you to play jazz? And I said, well, I never had somebody teach me to play jazz. I said, I just did it. And they said, well, did you practice jazz? I said, I've never practiced jazz a day in my life. I said, well, what do you practice? I said, I practice classical music. And I said, but I listen to jazz. I listened to the records. So my teachers were Jimmy Noon, Ben Webster. I can name 100 people, but and so listening. But it's great, like a tune like Goody Goody, because of that form. And one of the things that you can do is, and you did a great job with it, but one of the things I always recommend that people do is find a recording of the tune and just play it over and over again. If you're riding somewhere or you're sitting around the house, just keep playing it in the background, because the whole tune gets into your subconscious, and then that helps you play the tune. On your song, what I liked was you were bending notes. You weren't playing all you were staying close to the melody, but you would do those bent notes. And I see you play tenor. And see that when you can sing and vocalize those things, you can do the same thing on the horn. And you know, all the great jazz players, what's interesting is if somewhere, if you look through their discographies, most of them, on at least one record sang. You know, all the instrumental players, you know. Both you singers have great voices, I should say, by the way. So I had the opportunity to hear this yesterday at your school, so I don't want to be redundant in the comments I made, but a couple of things is on instrumentalists, especially when you're on any song you play, but especially when you're backing up a singer, you know, learn to play the melody and learn to play it convincingly. And a lot of times, like, so if I'm doing a new tune and you know, I'm trying to learn the tune, you know, the first thing I do is I learn that melody, and I learn it where I'm not reading it, and I can play it convincingly as if I'm making up the tune. Another good thing is you know, rhythm section players, you know, they're playing the chords all the time, but we're horn players. We play instruments that play one note at a time. And so sometimes to think harmonically is a little tougher for us, you know. And one of the things that I always encourage people to do is play the melody, but go through the melody, but as the chord changes behind the melody, be able to arpeggiate it. So if you take a song like "Mean to Me" or "Goody Goody," you know, learn to play you know, the arpeggio of every chord change. And if you heard me talk earlier, learn the pentatonic scale that goes with every chord. And that gives you notes to choose from when you're soloing. You know, and you got a great rhythm section. I could hear the chord changes in the rhythm. So when you're playing, you can hear when the chord changes this note, and you know that this scale's going to fit, or this note's going to fit. You know, one of the things a lot of the players I've heard is that people don't think about that in a solo. You know, one of pardon my mind here, I'm forgetting the name of the tune. One of the Louis Armstrong Hot Sevens is a blues, and he plays a whole chorus playing one note.
Yeah.
You know, and then he goes up, of course, with his chops, it sounds great, you know, but it's one note, and it's the rhythms. He just keeps changing the rhythms, and it's electrifying. It's absolutely electrifying. Ben Webster, one of my favorite players, you know, he could come in on the tonic of the chord, and it sounds like the most adventurous jazz note you ever heard. You know, that's when I say, when you learn to do the melodies on an instrument, learn to do it where it sounds like you, it's interesting, the tone color, you know. And everybody had their different way. You know, Ben liked to do that sound where it was very airy and very, I call it soft and fluffy. It was just a beautiful sound, you know. You know, other players played with a real pure, like Lester Young, almost no vibrato, you know. And I was telling other groups, Lester Young knew the lyrics of every song he played. So, you know, and that not only made him a great soloist, but it made him a great accompanist. You know, one thing that I have to, when I hear guys, musicians back up singers, one of my, and a lot of big band arrangements, you know, the arranger says, oh, well, the singer's got a microphone. So they put all the hits with the melody, you know, and to me that doesn't make sense. And what I do when I try to arrange for small group or big band, I'll put the interesting lines, because I learn where the singer's going to take a breath, and I put them in that space. And so one of my favorite things to do is back up singers. You know, try to come up with things that enhance that vocal. They mean to me. Now, I'm not a singer, obviously, so, but are you? Oh, yeah. No. But when is that high key for you? Or okay, so you feel like the high, you know, because you sounded great on the top notes, you know. Now there's two things that, there was an old-time bass player I worked with. I mean, I was playing in a band, I was maybe 20 and he was 72. You know, he played till he was 90, but he sang. And a lot of times, you know, the band would be playing some song and he would say to the leader, oh, I know the lyrics. and he would jump in on the vocals. So whatever key we're in, that he was stuck with that key. But he had a way of turning his head away from the mic on the high notes, so that he could sing them a little stronger, but they wouldn't come out suddenly louder. So he used the mic as a tool, because you get more support as you go higher. Either that or getting the band to lower the key. Now, my own experience, a lot of times, like a singer will ask me to do an arrangement, they say, well, I sing this in C, and I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking, that's too high for her. She's not going to want it in C. She's going to thin out on top. Most singers will argue with me about lowering the key. And so what I do is I write it in B flat, and I don't tell them. And they'll say, well, that sounds great. And so I say, well, that's my secret. But anyway, I like the beginning. Can we do that beginning of Mean to Me, the intro? Because I really thought that was very, very creative. I just want to hear that again. Intimacy, because right away you're setting up for the singer. You're allowing the singer to talk to the audience, because it's such a nice. I like the guitar and the clarinet intro. What would happen if you didn't use the mic? By the way, this room has great acoustics. I play in so many recital halls, right? Because I feel like that in order to get the balance with the guitar, that you're having to pinch the sound. Right? And you're not, what's great is you're not using muting. And you sound, but, and just try that. And the guitar, I love what you're doing. It was a little bit soft in the back of the room. But maybe if she moves away from the mic, it'll work. That would be enough. Yeah. I love the tone. The effect that it's giving is kind of reminds me of those when Eddie Lang. You know who Eddie Lang was? Eddie Lang was the first jazz guitarist. Really, he started recording in the 20s. He died very young, but he was just a master. But if you're familiar with the Bix recordings of Singing the Blues and I'm Coming Virginia, he's the whole rhythm section. And so, but it kind of reminds me. In fact, if you type in Eddie Lang, Ruth Edding, there's a video short where Ruth Edding is singing in a train car. She's just sitting, and he's playing guitar. It's just the two of them. They just found it not that long ago. It was one of those lost videos, but it's beautiful. Once again, please. It's high for her. Bring the crescendo with her, and that way she has that support. That's going to make it much easier for her to sing. A singer needs the support. I talked to you yesterday. You support from the diaphragm, right? I make all my students sing their lessons. And because they have to learn how to. When you play an instrument, if you're not vocalizing. I can take my clarinet or my tenor sax and play, like on clarinet, play a low C and play the whole overtone series. And I'm not using my embouchure. What I'm doing is I'm voicing, just like a singer voices. Do you ever think how you can sing up a scale? What is it that allows us to sing different pitches? Yeah, those keys on in voicing, where the air is in your mouth. I'm not a trained singer, so I'm not going to probably use the right terms. But when you sing an octave, when you think, ah, 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 what are you doing? You're changing the direction of air in your mouth. And the thing is, when you're supporting from here, you can do that. So we think when we play an instrument, if we push buttons down, that's going to give us the note we want. It has nothing to do with it. In fact, my teacher pointed to I forget if it was my clarinet or my sax one time, he says, that's not a musical instrument. He says, this is. We're the instrument. The thing you're holding is just an amplifier. What's interesting is there was a fabulous, in the 40s and 50s, Philadelphia Orchestra had a woodwind section that was beyond belief. Kincaid on flute, Tapito on oboe, McLean on clarinet, and they reissued a bunch of recordings where it was just the woodwind solos of the symphonies that the Philadelphia had recorded. And I'm listening, and I said, today there's players that can play faster, maybe have more technique, but there's something different that these guys were doing that you don't hear today. And I kept thinking about it, and then I realized the culture that they grew up in, before radio and television, every home had a piano. And for entertainment in the evening, people got around the piano and they sang. So people sang. The big thing about Louis Armstrong, what came first, the trumpet or his voice? His voice. When he was a kid, he had a vocal quartet, and barbershop type quartet. He was a singer first, and that showed in his horn playing. But let's do from the beginning. And as her voice goes up, right? It's an arranged background, or are you making it up as you go along? How's that? You're just doing it? All right, there's two things you can do. One of the things, we used to call them footballs, where you just play whole notes behind the vocalist. And what you could do is you could sketch it out. So you're not all playing the same note. But you can take the chord progression, come up with lines to play, or you can improvise to accompany her. But once again, listen to what she is doing. And try to phrase between her phrases. So you're adding to what she's doing. The other thing is, on the bandstand, like if we're doing a job and somebody's singing, maybe one horn player will back up the first 8 or 16 bars, and then we'll turn to another horn player and they'll do the bridge. So or every 4 bars we'll switch which horn player is back. So it's not everybody at once. If you're playing fills, so we kind of share it around. And we won't do it visually. Nothing's arranged. We just look at, I'll play this, and you look over, you take the next one. That's another way. Go ahead from the beginning. I love that off mic, because it's just, we could hear every note you played, and it sounded beautiful. Okay, from the very beginning. I love note you're picking. You're picking great notes. Yeah. So yeah, the other thing I would recommend you do, because this is a unique situation because you got two great singers, which is nice. I would suggest you listen to the Billie Holiday sessions from the 30s. Not to copy Billie, but listen, because they were all what they used to call studio sessions. They would get a call to go to sessions. Guys that usually never played it, they go to the studio with a bunch of tunes. And with Billie singing. So everything was thrown together in the studio, but you could hear how the horn players worked out backgrounds for the vocalists. So all the early, I would say like 1930s era Billie Holiday sessions, these are guys making up backgrounds and stuff. And what's more interesting about them is the people on the session was constantly changing. So, in a span of maybe 1 year, backing up Billie Holiday was maybe Lester Young, Johnny Hodges, Harry Carney, Roy Eldridge, Hootie Williams, Benny Goodman, Artie Shaw, Bunny Berrigan, whoever was available for that date. So not only are you hearing how musicians back up singers, but you're hearing how, all different types of musicians do that, and they're marvelous sides. So I would really recommend that very much. I want to talk about South Rampart Street Parade. That's trumpet players usually curse that tune, but you never stop playing. And one of the things you have in your band is, and I would urge you to check this out. There was a group called Bob Crosby and his Bobcats, and it was a Dixieland band of the 30s. There was two groups that were really the instrumentation that you have. 4-piece rhythm section, clarinet, tenor sax, trumpet, trombone. And it was Bob Crosby's Bobcats and Tommy Dorsey's Clam Bake 7. And I would urge you to listen to those sides because you hear how they use the tenor, the clarinet, and the trumpet, and the trombone in the front line. And one thing that I think is a great sound, and when I go hear traditional jazz bands, you very rarely get to hear the 4-piece front line. And when you do, it's guys just playing notes. They're not working things out. Now, a lot of times what they would do is the trumpet has the lead, and they would harmonize the clarinet a third above the trumpet, and the tenor below the trumpet. So so if it was, let me just show you. You just play a C, your C. You play your E in the staff, and you play your G. Okay, just play that chord. It's just a typical C chord. But just play it. It's just you can get a great sound, and then you add the tailgate trombone. So you could actually take a tune, and what I'm going to do is point out the trio section to South Rampart, right? Take his melody, right? He said, and then write down the line a third above the melody. Right? And then you come right out of line on the other chord note, which is end up being a fourth below the melody, right? And write it out, and get together the three of you, just the three of you, without the rhythm section, and try it out. But you're gonna find it's a great sound. And as I said, nobody does it anymore. And one of my dream things to do, is, if I ever had the time, was to transcribe a bunch of the Clam Bake 7s and do a concert doing doing the Clam Bake 7 material, because it's gone. It's forgotten. And as I said, it uses the tenor and the clarinet great. And it gives usually it's just one clarinet and two brass. This way it's even. But it's just something to try. And if you look at the arrangement here, where's your trio section start? Yeah. Right? Yeah, right, the trio, okay? So you have you're in the key of B flat, it's your B flat, right? And so if you can try this real fast, clarinet, what's your I'm saying in the key, your B flat chord, I'm talking about chord. Okay, so clarinet, if you look at that part real fast, you see the rhythm he has, right? Yeah, now you play your F over that, right? Then G, go to G. Yeah, but just try it. Go to F to G to your B flat. So you got F, G, B flat, right? And then tenor sax right? Play your D, I mean your B flat, right? To your C, right? To your D. D. Yeah. Yeah. B flat C D. So you're just going up the scale, right? And you're going F, G up to B flat. Okay. Let me just give you and just that much. 1, 2, and you're going to play 2. You're going to play your melody. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, one more time. Yeah. You can play out one more. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. See how neat it sounds? Like it just fills it out, and then you can do the tailgate stuff. See, so but that's as a horn section you get together. A lot of times we rely on somebody else's written out arrangements, but a lot of times, the old guys, what they used to do is they used to doctor the arrangements. And this just gives you that it's a parallel harmony, but what it does is it just fills everything out. Yeah. And as I said, very imaginative on this, on what you're doing. Very, very dynamic and very much in the style. So you must be listening to a lot of this.
Oh, yeah.
One of my favorite records, a fellow named Bob Haggart wrote this tune. Bob Haggart was the bass player in Bob Crosby's band. And the original record of South Rampart Street Parade was done by Bob Crosby's band. And what it was a big band. And the way the record goes is it's a big band, then a frontline Dixie band, back to the big band, just keeps going back and forth. It's very effective. But it's interesting, the drummer was a New Orleans drummer named Ray Baduke, who played like nobody's business. But you get a lot of ideas. In fact, there's YouTube videos of Ray Baduke playing. Yeah, it's really worth checking him out. He was one of Buddy Rich's top 2 favorite drummers. Yeah, he said Buddy Rich said he was an absolute natural. But the other thing is South Rampart Street Parade is supposed to be the parade tempo. It's a walking tempo. Most bands play it too fast. It's not supposed to be fast. Yeah. So anyway, if you check out, it's on YouTube, just the audio, but the original Bob Crosby version of South Rampart. I really urge you to check it out. It's a great chart. So, okay. We're going to probably have another band coming in. Thank you very much. Very wonderful.